Hi, I'm Shaun Carlyon from Let's Talk Shit podcast. Filming my first episode here with my friend and brother, Philip Russo from Heavy Duty Homes.
Heavy Duty Homes,
Heavy Duty Homes in King City, Ontario. Also down in Miami.
Yeah.
And so grateful, Phil, to have you on the show today, and you can spend the time with me today. And I'm really looking forward to picking your brain about a few things.
Amazing. Happy to be here. I'm honored.
Yeah, well, absolutely. A little backstory on Phil and I. We met at our cigar lounge, which is a brotherhood of like-minded individuals, and we kind of just started building this friendship. And we didn't really know each other from anything. And I'd say I've known you for about a year and a half now.
Maybe 3 now.
Yeah, actually,
Yeah.
you're probably right. 3. You're
Yeah.
right, because we're in the first group that got in. So,
Yeah. 3
it was amazing to meet you, and then shortly realizing what, as I started to get to know you and understand the level that you've taken yourself as a professional in the industry of custom building stuff. Hence, you've built this right here that we're in right now, the Miami Lounge, and you just do top shelf work. And the fact that you're even branching out down into Miami, Florida is a huge leap, right? Like to have that courage and strength to do that. And
Yeah.
so congratulations on you for doing that. And yeah, I just wanted to, I wanted to understand what inspired you to kind of go into this area of your life and pursue this career.
Sure. Well, I mean, you're a business owner, so it's that never-ending feeling of not being satisfied.
Yeah.
Where you are every day, you're either not doing enough, or you're not making enough, or you don't see the future getting closer for what your goals that you envisioned when you were younger. And that could be, a double-edged sword, because when you don't set goals, you keep reaching, and you get so far, but then you realize there's no fucking ceiling.
Yeah.
That you work past anything that's important in your life also. So yeah, there's success to some degree, but then you're at a loss for things that have true value.
Mm-hmm.
So you're kind of, you're chasing. So it's important to set goals, hit those goals, and realize when to slow down and start to enjoy.
How, and we were talking about this before, how old were you when you first started, swinging a hammer and learning the trade?
You know what? It was in me since I was a kid. So we had, obviously, grandfathers worked, everybody worked. Instead of asking for toys for Christmas when I was 5, we used to ask for fucking tools.
That's amazing.
And, your little pictures as a kid, you're up on ladders, you're trying to do things even though you're just playing around with, but you're playing with your dad's stuff. And so it's kind of in me. And then when I got into high school, I quickly realized, I realized during elementary school that it wasn't for me. Mm-hmm. Getting into high school, I lasted 1, maybe 2 years. I was in the 10th grade, and it was just like things going so slow. We're still learning about X, Y, Z plus fucking equals M squared, whatever the hell. I just wanted to learn about mortgages, finance, interest rates. I wanted to buy a car, and I got into an argument with my 10th grade math teacher. And I said, teach me how to finance a vehicle. I want to buy my first vehicle. I'm turning 16.
Wow.
How does this work? And she says, that's not on the program this year. I said, I'm tired of learning these stupid letters. She goes, well, you need to be able to do this kind of math. I said, no, I don't. I said, I need to know how to do real world math. And she says, I can't teach you that. And I said, then this place is not fucking worth anything for me. So the next day I didn't show up to school. I got a job landscaping.
Wow.
Started working for this company, which you learn life very quickly at that point, that, you can, you learn what it's like to be a man at a kid's age, which is, how things were done in previous generations. When you're 15 years old, 16 years old, these days, these kids are so soft, right? They sit in the school, then they go to college, they're babied until they're 21, 22, 25. No fucking goals for mortgages or buying a car. They don't even want licenses, half of them. I know 19-year-olds that don't have a license.
Yeah.
Now, you should have had that the day you turned 16.
Yep.
So getting into a work field with old school guys when I was 15 years old was very beneficial towards rapid growth.
Yeah.
You get tools thrown at you. You're called fucking gay 10 times a day.
Yeah.
You don't know what to expect. These guys are just rough.
Yeah.
But it builds character, it builds grit, and it builds a hustle into you. So that's kind of how that all started. So I'd say about 15 years old. Then I bounced back and forth to high school. I did some specialty courses to try and complete so that, I didn't get my diploma at first, But then later I wanted construction licensing and stuff like that, and a degree and contractor's license. So they required I go get a form or whatever. I had to do some night courses, get my diploma back. But I mean, the actual school system itself, it didn't really serve.
Yeah.
Being in the work field, being with guys that did it already, that's what served. Not just knowing where you want to go and what your possibilities are, but knowing where you don't want to be. Seeing those guys in the field that are in their 40s and 50s working as laborers. So when you see shit like that at a young age, you start to learn, okay, now I know where I am and I know I need an exit plan. So you start to think business. Now I need to open a business so I can be like the boss, because my boss is made. These other guys I'm in the ground with are all complaining. He's got a couple nice homes. He's got the nice trucks. They all answer to him. How do I get to that guy's level?
Yeah.
So now instead of getting there at 40, you're getting there at 25, 30. So you just kind of accelerate everything, and that's how it went for me.
That's amazing. Once you kind of started understanding and getting that confidence to build on your own, when did you make that leap to actually say, you know what, I'm going to open my own business and go for it?
It wasn't until I was 28 years old. I was with a girl actually since high school that we were engaged. It didn't work out, and when I no longer had a family to plan for, or any of that stuff, I said fuck it. I sold my house, and I put all my money into a business, and I went off on my own. I was in the union before, so we were doing union building, operating, machinery, everything. And I left the union, took my money, bought a warehouse. Called my parents. I said, Mom, Dad, I'm going to come live back at home. I want to start up a business. I'm going to need some help buying warehousing and trucks and all that. So I have this money from my house. Plus, I'm going to need some loans and co-signing, get equipment and trucks going. So I'm fortunate enough to have parents that put a roof back over my head after I had been gone so many years, and they helped make it all possible. Otherwise, the average guy starts grit from the ground up.
Yeah.
Imagine you got to have a mortgage. Maybe you can't have a warehouse so soon.
Yep.
You got to work out of your garage for a while. But thankfully to my parents, they let me go back home with them and got the warehouse, was able to build the business much quicker, then got back on the ground, got my house again, and started rebuilding my life after the business was stable. But that stability period took about 5 years.
Yep.
So from about 28 to 32, 33, I was just grinding, like no sleep, fucking 7 days a week.
Yeah.
We still do that now. We grind. The business is always a grind. But that first 5 years, you need to make sure that it's not going to go under.
And most guys do.
You need to make it profitable.
Yeah.
And you're learning everything. You're learning accounting, you're learning payroll taxes, you're learning how much you lose to the government. And, every day's a school day. And that's what business will give you. That's not something you can teach or learn going to courses ever.
Yeah.
It's something you have to get fucking constantly knocked down on to learn the hard way and then do something different. And that's why business owners are the biggest assholes, but also the nicest guys behind closed doors.
Yep.
Because you learn not to trust anybody, you learn not to treat anybody nicer than you can throw them. But you're also humble because you've fucking been humbled.
Yeah.
So it's and then you get the assholes that have that fast growth, that just got it all and they act like dicks, but they can lose it all because they never really earned it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you have to go through the ringer to be a good person and to fucking be a good businessman.
What would you say some of your biggest highlights in your career of custom builds would you say that you were the most proud of, that you were involved in, that people approached you and trusted you to build what their dream was?
There's a couple that I can't name names.
Yep.
But we've had some pretty cool projects. One was early on. Actually, it was a funny story that led me to this. I was doing a small project. It was an exterior project, somebody's backyard, pool, decking, stuff like that. And the people that I had hired to come on as a sub-trade kind of fucked me.
Yep.
So we lost a lot of money on the project. I stayed there by myself for an extra 2 months, built everything by myself, didn't pay the subs, didn't ask the clients for more money, just stuck it out and grinded until the thing was completed. And the clients knew this mortgage broker at the time, called them and said, listen, Phil, I had this mortgage broker. He's just sold, a $5 million condo for this guy who's moving to Toronto, and he wants to gut the whole place and build a palace in the sky. He goes, you're the first person I thought of. He goes, I told my mortgage broker that, you grinded it out here, what you did, everything that you've been through, and that you didn't ask for extra money, and that you're a solid person. He goes, so I gave him your number. Well, these people called me just when I thought that I was going to close up the business because all the money I lost on this project, and maybe I was going to go back to the union, this customer called me and he spent $1.4 million with us.
Wow. It's huge.
And that put us on the map. I opened the media company with my brother, Heavy Duty Media. We started our Instagram page. We started building our content, doing the channel, and then Heavy Duty Homes was born off of this one project. But that all came from a failed project that we decided to stick it out on. If we had walked, we never would have had this opportunity.
Right.
So that's why in business it's important to fucking grind it out.
And it would have affected your reputation too.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
You do that. It's a small world, believe it or not, in the construction world. And when you start screwing around like that with your word and your integrity, and that gets out, guys can't trust you.
100%. And trust is very hard to rebuild,
Absolutely.
It happens to the best of us, and you get into it with clients all the time, and if a client doesn't pay you, now you can't pay your sub-trade. Now that sub-trade's not going to trust you, and you have to rebuild that relationship.
Yep.
Now your lender's not going to trust you because you can't pay a loan back because a client didn't pay you.
Yep.
So again, does it look like a failure at first? Yes, but it's an opportunity to learn. How am I going to rebuild my systems so that these clients can't fuck me again? And you go back to the drawing board, and even though this year was a loss, maybe next year will be profitable, and maybe I'll burn my reputation a little bit now because these people got hurt when I didn't collect my payment, but I'll make it up to those people. And you being a man and constantly going back and constantly answering the phone and fixing the problems, because that's all construction is problems. That's what's going to make or break you as a businessman and keep you in the industry long term. If you burn these people as quick as your customers burn you and say, sorry, I didn't get paid, you're never going to see me again, your business is as good as that relationship.
Yep.
But if you tell these people, we went through the ringer, stick around, I'll fix this. That's all they care about.
Yeah, and communication, right? Like
Communication.
Like the guys that ghost and they don't pick the phone up to be, at least like you say, be a man about me. Listen, this is what happened. This is the honest truth.
Yeah.
I'm going to take care of you, but this is the situation. Yeah, I need your support, right?
Yeah. If you've been in business for more than 5 years, guaranteed you've been screwed by somebody.
Big time.
You're gonna have to deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the unfortunate thing in this country, Canada, is the way the laws are set up. They're kind of against us as the contractor, right?
Oh, Canada is not conducive towards business at all.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah, it's not good at all.
Yeah. Making money, defending yourself, defending what's yours, forget about it.
Yeah, what would you say some of the biggest struggles in that area, like that you've experienced from a legality standpoint? Because all of a sudden, like you're right, you did the job and you're not getting paid. Now you're trying to collect and you got screwed.
So Canada, especially in the contracting world, legally we're supposed to implement a holdback period for our customers.
Yep.
Well, what if that holdback is 10% on a $4 million job?
Yeah.
Right. So that's a huge chunk of change. If they decide not to pay you that holdback, you're out all of that money.
It's your profit.
You're out $400,000 or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So now you're gonna go to the court system. You're gonna see 2 years of bullshit back and forth with this person. They can say, if you don't take your foot off my neck, I'll just claim bankruptcy and you'll never see a dime.
Yep.
Or if they don't want to go through that whole bankruptcy proceeding, they can just make a bunch of bullshit claims and then make you an offer. Say, I'm only gonna give you, $50,000, take it or leave it.
Yep.
You could never see your money. You'll spend more on lawyers than you ever will. You'll have to fight on principle. You can't really collect anything at that point. But then if you remove that holdback, then they could say, okay, well, we're not going to hire you because you're just not leaving any room on the table for us to have money in our hands anymore.
Yeah.
And you could say, well, I've been burned before, so sorry, it's not you, but this is how the experience is. Now you're not going to get work because you're making sure that you're safe and they're not feeling safe. What if you, as the contractor, takes the money and doesn't deliver? Then you have to say, well, I've given you references, I've given you reviews and pages, and what do you mean? I've built 200 homes. I'm not going to leave you in the dirt. But still, they want to use money as a bargaining chip at the end of these projects.
Yeah, it's you touch on so many things that guys are struggling with. As business owners, especially like those guys in the first 5 years that are hungry and they don't know any better, and some guys luring them in, and he sees that they're young, naive, and he's like, yeah, come in, I can get you more work. He promises in the world, he brings the guy in, and he bankrupts him, he screws him right.
Sure.
It's brutal.
There's always the customer that's, give me a really good price on this one, and I'll give you the next one.
Yeah.
I'll pay you in full for the next. There'll be more work for you, and I'll be like, how about this? I actually learned this from one of the guys that worked for me. He goes, whenever you get a customer like that, you tell them, you pay me double for this one, and I'll do your next one for free.
Yeah.
How about that? But it never works that way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they want you to assume all the risk, right? And,
Yeah, 100%.
Discount.
And the guys early on always get it in the ass.
Yeah.
Because they're desperate for customers. They want to build a name. I get it. We've done it. We've all been there.
Yep.
But you lose, and that is probably the first loss everybody takes, because you're too excited and too ambitious, and you're not fucking thinking straight.
And you don't know especially even when you get into the commercial space, like you don't know the rules of engagement, like the 10% holdbacks. You don't know schedule of values. You don't know how to bill properly or billing cycles. Like, you start the job and then they say, yeah, well, you're not allowed to bill till this date, and then you got to wait another 30, 45 days to collect, and then you don't realize that at first, and then you're trying to float all that for 60 plus days.
Of course, we floated for 90 days.
Yeah.
So imagine now you got to carry, let's call it 120 grand.
Yeah.
You didn't realize you have to float that for 90 days. Who's paying the interest on that?
Yeah. It's brutal.
Your profit margin is this thin.
Yep.
That interest now took it away from you. You just did the job for fucking free.
Yep. Yeah, and that's just one. Imagine
and then you got the ignorant client on the end. But you charged $1 million for this. Yeah, but I floated this. The margins was this, and now I had to lose that.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's like, we have to constantly explain our business to people. Transparency matters when your customers are cool and they understand. But, I mean, I'm in residential. What you do is a little different, right? Actually, you do a lot of residential too.
Yeah.
Right? So it's the residential clients that don't always understand what we go through.
Yeah, and it's a double-edged sword, right? Like there's a lot of in that commercial world of like the CCDC contracts, right? That's a whole other thing that I got schooled on that I didn't realize.
CCDC, yeah,
and I didn't realize. I remember signing like 50 pages to a CCDC, and then I wanted the job. It was big numbers, but I really didn't even know what I was signing. I didn't even seek legal counsel, and I remember the client asking me, hey, Shaun, can you guys do this work? And I'm like, yeah. And, it was going to be like 60 G's worth of extra work.
Yeah.
And then it turned out that because I didn't do a change order, because his engineer or architect didn't sign off and approve, and the owner didn't approve, when I went to submit that bill, I got screwed. And then the guy said, listen, I'm going to go and see what the actual rates are in Ontario. And he literally slashed that bill, like 3/4 of the bill on me, and we'd done so much work, and I was just like, I was devastated. And it was like, but I didn't know it. And he pulled it up in that contract. He said, there it is, right there.
That's brutal.
And it was a huge hit. It was a huge hit, and it was like the amount of lessons you learn through mistakes, because these guys know you don't know, and they lure you in to do shit, and then they fuck you around.
Yeah, and at that time we didn't have no fucking ChatGPT to read me this document, tell me its flaws.
Yeah.
You're just ambitious. You're going to work.
Well, and speaking of that, how do you how do you find implementing AI now into your business platform? Would you say it's helped you substantially, or?
Honestly, it's not really. It's okay for like, structuring my emails, because I email the way I talk, and that's not always good.
Yeah.
So you want to do your emails properly formatted. I'll always write a nice email. I'll run it through ChatGPT, clean this up, and sound like me. And it pretty much does that. Just reformats everything. So it's a useful tool. Speeds up my time in the office and on the desk. But in terms of out in the field, not at all.
Right.
If anything, it slows me down, because it makes my customers retarded. My computer says you should be charging this much for this. And it's like, when you try to run numbers through ChatGPT or Google on construction and processing, it doesn't factor 50% of the things into consideration. It just doesn't know. It uses sources from all over the internet and just puts something together. But construction is not facts. Construction is custom and problem solving.
Yep.
So that's something AI can never determine. That's something only experience determines.
Yep. And how did you learn how to start estimating? How did you have that confidence when someone hands you that big job? Like, how did you say, shit, man, this is how I got to do it?
Just work your way up the ladder. We started small. I started off doing bathrooms, feature walls, basements, things I could calculate. And even then, those little jobs I was losing on.
Yeah.
Because you're not calculating overhead. You're not calculating your own time. You're not calculating 407. You're not calculating the trips that it took you to do the estimates.
Yeah.
So you start bleeding in all those little areas. And slowly, once you get the small jobs to a point where you've got it all figured out, you can start increasing the scale. Then we started renovating kitchens, then we started renovating whole homes, then we started dropping homes, then we started building restaurants, then it started becoming a whole. It just got easier and easier. Once you have that little formula down, you just apply it to different scales.
And when you went to scale your business, like the systems that you implemented into your business to make it more efficient and to have those checks and balance points during quotation so you didn't get screwed, and then plus managing that project, like how did someone teach you that? Did you hire like a third party for, like, what did you do? Just
No, it's all job by job, lesson by lesson.
Yeah.
And obviously we're always networking, we're talking to different guys, we're doing dinners, we go to stags. You're always in a world of guys who do business, so you can't help but ask questions. What do you do to better your contracts? Oh, well, I use this software. Okay, let me try that software, and then I get on this software. And when you're in construction, maybe you didn't think you needed a software until this guy told you about it. Now you're like looking up your own softwares, and then once you learn a construction management software, then you start learning, oh, we got different estimation profiles we can build, different templates. These things will save us time. We can build different, presentation packages with different levels of estimating, with different categories for different people. So you kind of start really, really small and then add. And honestly, nobody can ever really teach you this stuff.
Yep.
Unless you're young and you're working directly with an owner and you're their protege.
Yep.
That's the only shot you got. No school is going to teach you this.
Well, and to your point, you a lot of guys also don't want to give up the secret formula either. When you said, like, some guys are willing to share open book, but other guys are very tight, especially if they know you're doing the same thing.
Sure.
And they look at you as a threat. And I remember when
that's the Canadian mindset.
To my point, when I came to visit you in Miami last year for New Year's, and you invited one of your guests who was previously from Toronto, but he was living in Austin with his wife.
Yeah.
And he flew out, and he was a big developer, and I remember him telling me that when he was in Austin, and he was in like the strip plaza where his unit was, the guy that owned that plaza did the same thing he did, and he was so scared that he was going to find out that he did the same thing, that he was going to try to screw him, because that's what happens back home. Right. And he said something like 6-7 months went by, and then the guy discovered he did it, and he goes, hey brother, he goes, why didn't you tell me sooner? He goes, I could have helped you. These are the guys I use.
Yeah.
And he's like, he was fucking blown away that this guy actually wanted to help him versus railroad him.
You know what? The business mindset in the U.S., or at least Florida, because I've been mostly in Florida, collaboration mindset.
Yeah.
And it's always, I'm going to work with this guy. You're never going to cross my line and cut my grass. I have my relationships. I have my network. I have my community. You can't get in if you tried. And that's their mindset. But why don't I work with this guy? Maybe there's something that he can't take on that I can help him with. So they'll boost you, and then you start calling them because there's a trust built, and it's like, hey, listen, I got something that's a little out of my league. Do you want to take this on, or do you want to help me with it? Now you guys are taking projects together. And if you look out there on any of the biggest buildings or developments or anything being built ever, there's 2 or 3 fucking names on a sign, because these guys collaborate. The guys at the top have been collaborating. There's never just one. These names are communal names. They sit down at tables together and they build shit together. And Canada, it's just very me, and everything's competition, and you're never gonna grow like that.
Yeah, and in my experience, it's easier to work with people and get a cut of the pie versus trying to do it all on your own and fight everybody. It's
the same mindset as scaling.
Yeah.
It's like you're the guy who does everything yourself. If you don't let go of the reins and let your staff start doing shit because you have to micromanage, you're never going to scale your company.
Yeah.
And the same thing goes as a business owner. If you don't let other people get involved, you watch them to a degree, let your partnership and your skill level and your trust be your guide. But you need to start working with other owners, because now your strength as builders in numbers, you got now, it's not just the 3 of you, it's the 3 of you plus all your staff.
Yeah.
Maybe you can cover 3 regions now instead of 3 areas of one region that you would normally do yourself. Now you're involved in a much bigger piece of the pie. But then you start putting your other thoughts together. Maybe the 3 of us and all of our money can collaborate and create a development. Now you can branch off into other things altogether while your business is funded. Because now you've built these relationships with these other guys, and you got all this capital funding coming in, and they got access to different things. So you just become, light years more advanced than you think you would. And it all simply starts with collaboration.
Yeah.
Guys are the same mindset.
And you're never going to get that collaboration opportunity if you choose to fuck people and that gets out, because if they know you're that kind of guy, no one's ever going to want to join forces with you, knowing that you have a reputation of screwing others.
Of course.
And that's why it's so important to honor your word.
Of course.
No matter what in this industry.
Answer, communicate, always. That's it. If your intention is to fuck people, you're going to have a hard time.
You're going to have a brutal time.
Yeah.
You know, just in a reflection on myself, like one of my biggest losses is I lost $1.3 million. I did $5 million in sales, but it cost me 6.3 to do it.
Right.
And the mistake I made was I had hired a GM.
Yeah.
And because I was still a full-time firefighter, I had 45 guys at the time. I scaled right up, signed millions of dollars in brand new Caterpillar equipment, and then
you didn't price enough to cover the.
But not just that. The biggest fatal error I made was I gave my dream to someone else and thought he would do it for me while I went to go study for 2 months for my captain's exam. And it took him 2 months to fuck me up so bad, but by the time I realized what was going on, it was too late. And so I had to make a decision. I was legally signed all these agreements. I still had to fucking do them or get my ass suit off.
Yeah.
And then I had to make a decision. I had 3 decisions. Go bankrupt and never show my fucking face again, ever in the industry. Kill myself for $1 million life insurance policy so that my wife could pay off the debts, or stay and fucking fight my way out. And I chose to fight. It took me 6 to 7 years to do it.
Yeah.
I picked the phone up every day. I had fucking 25 guys on me hard. And I always picked the phone up. I always talked honesty. And then I fucking paid those guys back.
Yeah.
And not one person can ever say that Shaun and Kim Carlyon never paid their fucking debts back.
Yeah, but I bet you in that 5 to 7 years, they were scared.
Oh, yeah.
But now that you got through it, you can do business together.
Absolutely.
And you'll laugh about those days.
Absolutely. And I was still able to do business with those trades on other projects during that time period because of how I conducted myself. They knew what had happened because I was transparent about it. I wasn't trying to bullshit. Right. So it's so important about being an honorable, man these days, right?
You know what, that thing about transparency too, people think, oh, don't tell people your business. No, when you're in a jam and you owe people money and things have not gone right on your finances on one end, you have to be transparent. You have no choice, because people can sniff that fake story bullshit. So when you're literally, falling apart and you're answering the phone and saying, this is what's happening, work with me, I'm fixing shit. I don't know how long it could take. Could be a month, could be a year, could be 5 years. As long as you pick up that fucking phone, you'll be okay.
No, it's amazing. Is there? What would you say? Give me 2 scenarios. Your biggest win to date in what you've done, and you say your biggest loss. What would you say? Give me the 2 examples.
We took a $1.6 million loss.
Oh wow!
Very similar to you. Exactly what you just explained. Overgrowth, giving trust to other people.
Yeah.
Stepped away, started building the U.S. and when you come back and you recalculate all the projects and say, why is this one failing? Why did this one take 8 months instead of 4? Why didn't we build an extra 4 months? Collectively, over the course of this handful of projects, you lose 10 times more than what you thought your profit was going to be.
Yeah.
And overnight, you can flip upside down.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to fight through it. But you do. You keep building, you keep branding, you keep your fucking word, and eventually you get through it.
Just don't give up.
You don't give up. That is the only rule in business that will make or break you. It's business owners that have been around for time, they do not give up.
That's true. If you do, you go bankrupt, you're fucked. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah. Good luck.
Or they'll bankrupt on the corporate side just to fuck the banks and the cars, but they'll pay all their guys slowly and personally and work, and as long as the little guys are getting fed and the guys your relationships matter for, you can always rebuild credit. And that's the good thing about a bankruptcy filing in these countries, is it'll protect you from the system.
Yep.
But you don't want to burn people that have families and mouths to feed.
Yep.
Because the systems are insured. They're fine.
Yep.
They take enough of our money to fucking be okay. The little guys you got to take care of. And in terms of the wins, honestly, every job's a win in my eyes, because a lot of them are losses, but you're learning every day. You're only getting better. You're only getting sharper.
Yeah, you must have so many things. You could drive all around here, Southern Ontario, and be like, you know what, I built that, I did this restaurant, and again, I love this room, and you create this room, and it's given such a great space for men to come and talk and do some really cool stuff in these rooms, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, these little things are nothing too. We just slap them together. People need favors, but honestly, I think my favorite thing is the ground up custom homes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did a really, really cool custom, and just being able to follow the architect's design to some degree, but to create and to take something and a piece of land and throw up an amazing structure and watch people live generationally through it, and then we get invited to the barbecues every year, and it's just that's probably the best feeling. You get to a point where you don't even care about the money.
No, that's if you're passionate about it as well. That's another big thing, is being passionate.
Being too passionate will lose you money too.
Yeah.
If you're too meticulous, if you care too much, then you gotta implement that little bit of asshole side of you. So that you gotta remember you're a businessman. You gotta make money. So it's like too much passion is good, but it's too good for the client.
Well, you get the clients that want the Louis Vuitton service at the fucking Walmart price, right?
Which that's everybody.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Yeah, and then they'll hold you to it, and then they want warranty and everything else on top of it. But you literally want fucking champagne for the price of ketchup, bro.
But then you get those unicorn customers. Like I just had one up in North Bay. I just slammed into 50,000 liter holding tanks at the Brant Peterbilt dealership. And the guy called me up and he said, "Shaun, can you handle this project start to finish?" I said, "Yep." And I did it. And the reason I did it is because the last project I did with this guy, he paid me up front all the money before I was done in full, which was like unheard of.
Yeah.
And the reason being that we discovered that his father was actually my first captain when I was a firefighter. And that was that connection because of that. He knew he could trust me if I worked with his father. Mm-hmm. He trusted me that I was going to honor my word and do what I did. So when I got that opportunity to go up to North Bay, I grabbed my guys. You're up there for like fucking, I think 8 or 9 days straight, banging at 14-hour days in negative 27 temperatures. But I bent over backwards for that guy,
right? Because
I knew that's the unicorn. I'm going to take care of that guy.
Yeah.
And those are the guys I like working with.
Yep.
And you'll go that extra step, an extra mile for those clients because they're taking care of you.
Yeah.
They respect your quality and your knowledge and the things you bring to the table.
And they know you're always one phone call away.
Yeah. And that's it. This phone call picking up the phone. How many contractors out there dodge their clients and are just not honest? Hey man, somebody came, I can't make it tomorrow, or this is what happened, or my excavator smoked this out your building.
Yeah.
Instead of playing the old, it wasn't me, I don't know who did it, was the fucking boogeyman bullshit.
Right.
Just being transparent and being honest and being a man. And rolling into about being a man, I want to drop your beautiful book here that I'm so proud that you did this, The Toxic Male, that you released. And I remember we were here in the lounge having a cigar there, and I remember you talking about it, and the first thing that came up to me, I was like, holy fuck, this guy wrote a book?
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck this guy, man, he's fucking writing books and shit. I'm like, so when I went on my trip with my girl to Italy, her and I took this book all over the beaches, and she would sit there and read me chapters of it. So
right.
And maybe you can tell us a little bit more of what inspired you to write the Toxic Male and what is it all about?
Well, the Toxic Male, the title is derogatory. It actually is the opposite.
Yeah.
What is male toxicity? What they believe it to be today is masculine men that want their women to stay at home and guys go to work and just do all this shit. That's not toxic at all. That's the most masculine thing you can do.
Yep.
So this book kind of speaks to children, how they've missed all of their rites of passage where, when we were young, and maybe even my generation's a little too young, but generations before us, when you were done school, your father was on your ass to get a job. You had to there was always a point in your life where you're the man now.
Yep.
You need to work. You need to help me around the house. You need tasks. You need chores. You need to bring money home. You need to find a girl. You need to have kids. There was always a structure.
Yep.
And those are called rites of passage. Something that young males today lack. They don't have that solid father figure or that uncle or that coach, somebody to drive them through their young years and put that mentality into their head that by the time they're 20, they should already be feeling successful.
Yeah.
But they're not. They feel lost. They feel like they don't know what they need to do, what they're ever going to have, if they're ever going to achieve anything. And they just know they're meant for more, but they're lost. And after employing so many kids over the years, young guys, I would listen to them talk, and they're taking girls out, 19-year-olds, 18-year-olds. Bro, don't pay for her dinner. It's just one day. She should pay half. I'm like, what the fuck am I hearing, man? You want to take a girl out, you pay the fucking bill.
Yeah.
You do it 2-3 times, and if this girl doesn't respect you, then you can stop and don't take her out ever again.
Yeah.
I said, but up front, you need to be the fucking man. You need to lead.
Yep.
And, just from having to father these employees over the years, I'm like, a lot of people will tell me, you should write a book, the shit that you say, the things that would come out of my mouth.
Yep.
So I started in 2021.
Oh, wow.
I put the title on paper, and again, I'm no scholar. So I literally just started with bullet points. And every month, every time I had a thought in my head, bullet points. Men, women, how we should collaborate, how our energy does not combat female energy, how they complement each other when they're in the right environment.
Yep.
It's not up to us to tell a woman that you should be more feminine. It's up to us to make them feel like they can be.
Yeah.
Everything starts with the man. So that's why I wrote that book. There is nothing that you can tell a female to make her feel masculine, to make her feel feminine, and to get out of that boss bitch fucking energy. You just got to be the guy, and she'll fall into place. And that happens in any situation. So I wrote that book based on that type of energy there, and to help kids and whatever as a guide. A lot of kids that grew up without fathers and, a father figure, they can read this book and, maybe, hopefully be inspired. I'm sure there's a lot of people who disagree with it, ignorant people, but it's very, close to home. It's generationally the way the world works.
Yeah.
Man is designed for one thing: build a family, build a business to feed them, and build a body to protect them.
Yeah.
And we're just lacking in all three categories these days. These boys don't do anything. So that book is trying to hone it all together.
And you've touched on so many important things that the younger generation is missing now of that. It's like they're there's no masculinity right now. It's being suppressed almost to show the side of it and then be shamed about it.
Well, even media has been proving that for so long. How many TV shows or movies do you see with like the dumb dad or the useless boyfriend?
Yep.
They're not handy. They can't do shit. They're constantly, familiarizing people with the guy being less.
Yes.
Always being the last to eat, being the last to get, have money or whatever. And that's not the case. Our fathers and stuff, and generationally, have run the show. They're the man of the house. You all respect the father. He goes to work. He goes to war. He protects the family. The mother's just there to, make sure those babies are raised healthy and good and keep the household together.
Yeah.
She's the core unit of your whole family. You're just there to protect and provide.
Yeah.
And we've lost touch with that. And, I don't really speak of it in the book, but obviously the government had something to play.
Yeah.
Back in the 60s or 70s when they started the women's rights movement. That was all to take the woman out of the household so that they can create 2 taxpayers per household.
Yep.
And use the school system to indoctrinate these kids. So it's not education, it's an indoctrination program. Yep. Now these kids are being raised not by mothers watching their diet, watching what they eat, watching what they're doing for homework. These moms are fucking on the grind working, which they were never meant to do. Women, their energy is nurturing. It's supposed to be, kids, home, feed. Men are supposed to be doing all the other shit. So they kind of broke the world. And it's up to us to put it back together.
Yeah, it's very, very well said, Phil. And this is something, even with my, my 3 children, right? And my oldest, he's about to graduate high school, and there's a big debate right now going on about whether to go to school post-secondary, or to go work and grind out and hustle, and he's got a beautiful girlfriend right now, and he's happy, and she makes him like so happy, right? And they're doing a great thing. But the debate I keep on having right now is, I say if you want to go to college or university, it should be for a licensed trade, or if you can be a doctor or a lawyer, like something that or veterinarian, something that requires that paperwork to get it. But I said, if you're not a school guy, and you're not going to be able to apply yourself in school, then why aren't you out going right away, working and hustling, being an entrepreneur? And so, you've got I'll say the women of the family that though went through the college and the university, they're jamming it on him to do it, and he's feeling like if I don't please my mom or the grandparents or whatever, I'm going to disappoint them. And then here I am saying, listen, man, I can show I can show you what to do. You don't need to necessarily go to school for what you're trying to accomplish. Like I said, any question you have these days, ask ChatGPT. Go ask it the question. You want to know banking? Ask the thing. Like
You have so many tools.
There's so many fucking tools. And I said, you want to go burn up 1 or 2 years partying and having fun in school when you can get it out of the door and just hustle right away, and I can show you how to become something. So this is why, with these episodes and this podcast that I'm creating and going to these trade shows, I'm taking my kids with me to inspire them to say, like, especially when we go down to the WET convention in Indianapolis and the Con Expo in Las Vegas, I go, if you can't find something at those places to inspire you, I don't know what else can. And also be around men and women that have done something with themselves and that are doing it, right?
Sure.
So
they're just brainwashed to go to school.
So brainwashed.
Do you really need university to learn how to be a framer? Go work for a fucking framing company.
Yeah.
They'll teach you how to pick up a tool. In 1 month, you'll know if you like it or not.
Yeah.
Never mind 4 years of wasted money that you owe student debt on.
Yeah. And that's what's happening.
Pick the tools up and go to work.
Absolutely.
If you're a boy and you're unsure, just go to work. That'll fix 90% of your problems.
Yeah. It's true, man.
90%.
It's true. And then, like, again, like, for myself, one of the things I found challenging too, like when I was working, 120-hour work weeks as a full-time firefighter and running, I had 6 businesses at the time.
Yeah, 6.
Yeah, it was wild. I had 6 corporations, right? And I'm trying to fucking run that off the back of a fire truck. And it was an absolute shit show, literally trying to do it.
Yeah.
And I was so stressed out. I was never seeing my kids at all. And I remember I was in the hot tub with my oldest son, Drew, and I think he was like 12 at the time. And it was late at night. He says, Dad, can I say something to you? And I said, yeah, what's up? He goes, can I share something with you? And I'm like, yeah. It's just, he goes, some math. I'm thinking he's going to fucking tell me something from school. So he goes, Dad, I only see you 1 hour a night during the week, and I maybe see you 3 or 4 on the weekend. And he fucking added the hours up that I see him during the weekend. It was like 10 or 12 hours a week, and this kid fucking crushed me, dude. Like, and I didn't even see it. Yeah. I didn't even see it, and that's when I realized, man, I got to make a hard turn in my life and change something, because it was all work now and then no family.
Yeah.
Right, and here I am out grinding because I'm trying to give the best to the family, but I'm not there to enjoy. Yeah, we're going away on maybe 2 trips a year and go to the cottage once or twice in the summer, but for the most part, I wasn't home.
Missing out on the simple quality time.
Yeah, and so, the flip side to that too is, like, I didn't make them work the way I did at such an early age. Like, I was 12 when I got my first job, right? Now, my kids have gotten jobs when they're like 15, 16 years old, and I'm proud of them that they're doing that. But I'm telling you, man, the chaos that I was in as the man in the house trying to do it and build all these empires, and my wife at the time was on her own with the kids and trying to run the businesses on the time. Like, it was a gong show. So
she was trying to help you out too.
She was trying to help me out, and this is another thing to touch on, and is the stress that running businesses puts on the marriage and puts on the family and puts on your own mental and physical health, right?
Yeah.
And from my personal experiences, like the crutches that I used of substances to get through the day, it got way the fuck out of control, where it literally had owned my life, right? And there's so many guys that can relate to going off path because they've also lost their way,
right?
Do you know what I mean? And
you get caught up chasing money and chasing growth and chasing business and all that, and then in turn your family's chasing you.
Yeah.
And you don't even realize it.
Absolutely. And then you lose it all. You lose it all. Then you say, what the fuck?
What did I do?
What did I do?
What did I just do all this for?
Yeah, exactly. And so many. If there's any advice, if you could go back to younger Phil and say to him, listen, this is what I learned over the last 10, 15 years. Is there any advice you would suggest to him to change just a few things, to make it better better for them. The pitfalls, you know.
Yeah. Honestly, we just balance. You have to treat balance as if you're treating it like a client. It needs to be nurtured. It needs to be there. You gotta protect it. You gotta protect the ones you care about. Everything else, it's like being an athlete, right? Sure, they can practice, and be really good on the field. But if they're not taking care of their diet, and they're not taking care of their mental health, and they're not taking care of their reading and everything else, everything on the field could fall apart.
Yeah.
So balance is key in anything that we do.
Yeah.
I would tell younger Phil, be as focused on what's off the business as well as what's on the business.
I know, and that's a tough thing to do as an entrepreneur.
Very hard.
It's very hard. And then having,
because we're competitive.
Very competitive.
Yeah.
You got to be, because this world is super competitive.
But then the guy that you beat the shit out of in business is happily going to go home to his family on Christmas.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we'll be sitting at the bar.
Yeah, exactly.
So, who won?
Exactly. And there's so many life lessons to learn that you don't know until you've gone through it, or unless you're willing to listen to somebody that's made that mistake and being open enough to listen to what that guy said and take his advice. And then that's the thing. Like I say to my kids all the time, the most irreplaceable thing in my life is my time. You cannot fucking give me back my time. When you go to prison, what do they take from you? Your time.
Your time.
Right? Why is that? Because you can't fucking replace that shit. So, when I think of the amount of time I fucking wasted doing so much stupid ass shit.
Yeah.
I tell myself, if I could go back in time and tell myself, hey man, don't do this and don't do that, because you're gonna waste so much time and burn up so much money, and then the fucking energy and the heartache and heartbreak you're gonna go through.
And now part of this new generation, maybe they do have it right a little bit. They're the total opposite. All they care about is their time.
Yep.
There's no ambition. There's no bread. They're trying to chase nothing. They're just my time and my energy, and I'm gonna protect it. Well, you can't buy fucking food if you go out on the street because you're broke.
That's it.
There's a balance. They're onto something, but we went too far the other way.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to treat everything with balance. You got to run that business to a degree where you're comfortable with it, but everything off the field matters.
What do you call it? What would you say your new goals and ambitions are? Like, where do you how old are you now, Phil?
37.
37. So let's say what's even your short-term and long-term goals that ahead of you in life?
Business.
Business and personal. What would you say?
Well, business-wise, obviously I'd like to be a large-scale developer.
Yeah.
Or mid to large scale, 50, 100 homes a year.
Yeah.
And that would be the absolute best. And picking up parcels of land, building on, selling, having offices, multiple locations throughout Canada and the U.S.
Yeah.
Honestly, it might be a small dream, but that's what I'm passionate about, and I love building, and I love the housing industry, so I would love to take it to a degree where the staff can pretty much run everything, and I just attend the meetings. Personally, a nice, healthy family,
Yep.
Shit paid off, and again, freedom of time, being able to say no to anything at any day and go take a day, take a vacation, do whatever you want to do. That time is what I truly value now. So it's like, if I can just say no to tomorrow and go to Mexico for a week,
Yep.
nothing should be able to fall apart. That's what we're trying to create. So
Trying to create a lifestyle.
Personally, we want to be in control of our time.
Yes.
And you have to get your business to a point where it's able to provide that for you. Or businesses, because, we all don't take it from one stream. You have multiple streams, doing multiple things. That'll give you freedom of time.
Well, that's good. And what would you give advice to guys? If you could give some advice to guys starting out, what would you say? Maybe 3 things that non-negotiables. If you're gonna get into any kind of business as an entrepreneur, what would your 3 things that you would give as advice to them?
Number 1 is always to stop thinking about it and just do it, because you'll think of 1,000 reasons not to do something. You have to just pull the trigger. Number 1. Number 2, you're gonna fail. Don't ever quit when you fail. Don't ever feel like you're gonna quit. And number 3 is burn those bridges that you were attached to before. So, for example, I was in the union. When I started my business, I called my union rep. I said, pull me out of the union. But why? You have all these years, all these hours. What if you ever want to get back in? I'm not getting back in. Burn the union. 6 months in, when I wanted to quit, I'm like, fuck, I have no union to fall back on. So I had to truck it out. So you pass that hurdle, you pass those humps, and that will build some serious grit, because you are going to go through bad times. That's just what it is. Any business owner who thinks that I'm going to build a business because I want an easy life, you better think 3 times about that. It's not going to make anything easier. It's going to give you a lot more tools to control shit. But as men, as hardworking women, there's a lot of women out there too that are great at business.
Oh yeah.
We want to work. We're not thinking about retirement. You want to do this shit forever.
Yeah.
You just want to be able to do it with ease, eventually. And as a business owner starting out, don't ever think it's gonna be easy. Not for a long time. You got to be really willing to put in that work.
What again? Go. I guess. What were some? Let's say it this way. What are some things that you would like to see changed in Canada? If you could change maybe 2 or 3 things in Canada that you're seeing the difference in the U.S. from a business owner's perspective, what would you wish that you could have going on here?
Number 1, less taxation.
Yep.
Taxes are huge. They're sinking every business right now. They take too much from corporation. They take too much income tax. They take too much payroll and employment tax. So taxes, they got to get cut. Number 2, I would say, our red tape, our government red tape and permitting processes. The amount of intervention our government has with developers and building is astronomical. They implement so many fees and so much length to the timeline of a build. A project that could be built in 6 months is taking 3 years because they're involved. Why? Right? There's too many little things involved. They need to cut the red tape. So aside from taxes and aside from the red tape, I would like to see more respect for trades and people in the industry. That's one thing Canadian consumers don't understand. Construction and construction workers are considered low level. They don't respect tradespeople. They think, oh, they're dirty. They got shit on their clothes. That guy works 10 times harder than anybody and probably fucking, has more grit and more respect for anybody than you could know. Meanwhile, anybody who works in construction is considered low level. Why? Because you put on a suit and tie and you go make your 45 grand a year inside.
Yeah.
That guy could be making 200 G's a year on a ladder.
Yeah.
Building a family and doing it the hard way and, actually being fruitful and not complaining. So, people need to see construction workers, business owners, and tradespeople as a high value person with a lot more respect.
Any specific laws would you say, again, when we talk about the liens and stuff on projects, and correct me if I'm wrong, from what I understand in places like Texas, and I could be incorrect with this, but even from a commercial standpoint, and I don't know if they do it in the residential world, but from my understanding, if you do a project there, the lien goes on the property first, and then you work the lien off until it's done. Is that correct? Is that how it's kind of structured?
Texas might be a little different. Yeah. Usually a lien gets applied until, they can't move or sell the property.
Right. But here, you can't. That's not how it works, right?
It could here. The lien gets tied to the property.
It does, but from I think the difference is what I'm trying to say is the lien goes on at the beginning of the project, and then it works its way off. Versus here, once I'm done, if you don't pay me in that 60-day time period,
right,
I have to put the lien on the property. Got to perfect the lien,
right,
and then you go through all the bullshit of this thing, and then by the time you're done, the lawyers, the
cost you more than what you were ever owed.
Right, exactly. So, those are things I'd love to see.
We fight
change.
on principle here.
Yeah, I'd love to see those things change to protect the contractor that, is rightfully done his job and that's getting screwed because of the way our system's designed.
And that goes hand in hand with our rental laws. A renter can rent here for free for 2 years and screw the landlord.
Yeah.
The person who's killed himself to buy that second property to make a second income to grow something for his kids. Now these renters can go in there, live rent-free for 2 years, and possibly bankrupt the landlord because now he can't cover his mortgage. And in Florida, you get a knock on the door from a sheriff in 2 weeks.
Wow.
You're getting thrown the fuck out.
Really?
So it's like, there's places that are very conducive to people who work hard and build their businesses, and places like Canada that are not.
No, it's funny you say that. When I was at the shop today, it was actually funny that the client, I didn't know who he was. I guess we pumped a septic tank, and he showed up and he had his dog in his hand. He's like, "Here, I'm here to pay $40," and I'm like, "Fucking 40! Like you fucking drove all the way up to where my yard to give me $40?" And like my brain couldn't comprehend it. But anyways, he showed up, and as he was leaving, he asked me if I knew a good lawyer, and I said, "Why?" He says, "Well, I've got a tenant that hasn't paid me for 3 or 4 months, and I want him out." Right? And he goes, "Now the guy's trying to sue me. He's been in there for 3 years, and he's trying to sue me because now he's all of a sudden saying there was mold here. This is wrong. This is wrong. Da, da, da." And he's telling me this like convoluted story. I'm going, "Holy fuck! Like this is brutal."
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just there's so much stuff that's screwing people that are willing to take the risk.
That's how it is.
Yeah.
In Canada, business is all risk. It never used to be this hard. It's hard to run a business here, and don't let that be discouraging if you want to start one, because whether you're successful in it or not, it's going to build you as a character. Mm-hmm. Money's money. You'll always figure out how to make it, but you got to have it in you to try something. And that's exactly what Canada's doing. They're making it hard so people say, "I'm not going to open a business. There's no point. I'll just go fucking work at Costco."
Yeah.
That's what they want. You got to break that ceiling. Fuck those rules.
Yeah.
Start making cash. Stop paying taxes. Go figure it out.
And it's funny again. That gentleman I met in Miami with you, who was from Canada. He said like there's such a box here that everybody's expected to live in, right? And if you venture inside that box, it's like you get criticized for and penalized for and all this other shit. And he's like, his biggest thing, saying when he was in Texas, that they love that, thinking outside the box, going big. And he's like, "Shaun," I never forget what he said. He's like, because I said I want to move down there eventually and start a business. He goes, "Shaun," he says, "just get the fuck down here and do it. Just do it." He goes, "A guy like with your piss and vinegar, you'll fucking mow guys down here.
Do it.
Just do it."
Yeah.
That's some of the biggest advice.
Texas is innovative. Florida's innovative.
Yeah.
They want people who have businesses. They're gonna fucking build their whole state from it.
Yeah.
But what we do and what those states do is good for the people living in them. It's not good for their governments.
Right.
What we have in Canada, this dictatorship, this is good for our government. It's not good for the people.
Yeah.
So, the pandemic showed us one thing in Canada. They're here to punish small business owners.
Brother, well, if I don't know, I'll share my experience of the pandemic. This is right around the time period that I had the 45 guys, and when the pandemic hit, I was down at the Con Expo in Vegas with my wife at the time, and we're getting calls from back home in Canada, and they're like, "Hey, where are you?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm in Vegas. What's up?" They're like, "Oh, you got to fucking come home now." And I'm going, "Why?" "Well, people are fighting over toilet paper here." I go, "What the fuck are you talking about?" There's like 500,000 fucking people here. What COVID? What? And then that week on the TVs, it all started popping up and all this shit. And I was trying to actually open a paving company at the time. I was down there literally signing my name to all the equipment, and I said, "Fuck this!" I pumped the brakes on it, and I said, "This isn't the right time to do it." And then when I got home and all this shit started happening in Ontario, when they gave me the CERB, I was losing guys like this. They were fucking dropping and they literally said to me, "Shaun, I can make more money at home jerking off watching fucking Netflix than I can for you."
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck? So I had 45 guys. I swear I lost like 25 within a month.
Yeah.
I was devastated because I had all these jobs going.
Yeah.
I needed these guys, and then it switched. I never forget. It went from the owner kind of being in charge of the employees to now the employees are like, they knew business owners were fucking desperate because they needed guys, and now they were leveraging against you, asking for raises, and they were really trying to fucking pressure you as that advantage, and it was fucking bullshit.
They became more valuable because they got fucking CERB checks for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's wild. So like, I just remember that happened, but now you take what's going on right now in 2025, 2026 in Ontario specifically.
Yeah.
We're in some bad economic times where like people are out of fucking work.
This is worse than the recession of '89.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't work or live through it. I'm not old enough. I was born in the '80s, but
Yeah.
from the guys that I work with and talk to that had businesses in that time, they say what's going on right now is 10 times worse. Like, it feels like they're trying to collapse everything
Exactly.
on purpose.
And now the guys that were trying to screw us because they were the employees, they're the ones begging for the job because there's such a competition to get work. Right? When they're laying off hundreds or thousands of guys from major corporations in Ontario, that's fucking scary.
everything's got to turn, right?
Yeah.
Everything's got to turn. So everybody's going to have their good times. Everybody's going to have their bad times. What matters is that you hang in there.
You know what a lot of people don't realize too, with the AI technology that's coming before us, a lot of jobs are going to get.
We're going to have a lot more guys in the field.
You're gonna have a lot more guys in the field, but like all that back end stuff, that's all going to get erased. And then what are those people going to do? You know,
God knows, man.
Like when's all, say, even from the transportation's perspective,
that is a scary thought.
When trucks are driving themselves on the highway and you don't need a truck driver no more.
Well, in the U.S., I've already seen some automatic Amazon trucks. They're driverless.
Wow.
So you're eliminating delivery drivers.
Yeah.
How many people work for UPS, USPS, FedEx?
Thousands.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So that's why, you know, I think people need to kind of open their eyes and realize the world's changing faster than they know it, and how can you make yourself valuable and get ahead of this?
Yeah.
Right? Because if by 2030, man, I'm a firm believer, if you don't get your shit together, you're fucked.
Yeah.
You're gonna get run over.
Yeah. The world's going to a scary place.
It is. So you know, my goal is to understand that what does that place look like, and how can I be on the right side of it?
Regardless, being in business will give you mental and characteristical tools that will get you through storms.
Yeah.
That no school will give you. You know, it'll give you that grit. It'll put you in rooms with guys that are going to teach you not just how to run a business, but how to be a fucking man and how to run shit.
Yeah.
You know, so when the world goes to a dark place, you have a new set of skills. Things that you're not going to learn behind a desk.
Yeah, and then again, going back to having a strong brotherhood of people in your network of friends that you can rely on one another when things are going sideways in your own personal life. And I can call you and say, Phil,
that's another huge point.
Yeah.
Being in the field versus guys that are isolated in offices. They push this office work for years.
Yep.
They have no camaraderie. I got 200 guys in the field that I can call right now, and you know, we'll have each other's backs.
Yeah.
Where are these networks for these guys? They don't have that.
No. They don't.
You know, unless they do, and I'm just ignorant. I don't know where it is. But my first thought is, where is it? You're secluded in your little office with the people that you work with.
Yeah.
And that's your life. Your home office, home office, home office. There's no trek out into the world.
No, there isn't. And again, those are two different worlds. The construction world, and you know, let's see the
white collar.
Yeah, the white collar, right?
Yeah.
And you know, it's funny, like, for myself, like in my life experiences, I could dress up like a top G, walk into any boardroom meeting and handle myself and look like that. And I can also look like the guy that just walked behind the fucking dumpster.
Sure.
Right? And I've had that ability to be, and being around those people, being comfortable enough without judgments and understand both sides of the fence.
Of course.
And that's a huge advantage, where a lot of people are very ignorant to each other's things that they do, right?
Right.
So, you know, being humble and like, look, I was a firefighter for 20 years. I saw some of the most humbling shit you could ever imagine.
I can only imagine. Sure.
And now doing septic work, sucking people's shit is one of the most humbling fucking things you can do. Like when you crawl in another man's shit, and it's on your fucking face, that's pretty humbling.
Sure.
Right? So, you know, it's having that but again, people are scared. People are scared to get their hands dirty. People are scared to get in the trenches. Like, you know, the other day when I was in a fucking septic tank doing a huge project in it, and I was sitting there on a fucking little 5-gallon pail. I was in there for 3 hours, and I thought, you know what? I'm doing something that no one else is willing to fucking do. I'm in a shitty spot, and I love it. And
shit money is not shit money.
No, it's not shit money.
It's good.
It's beautiful money, man. Shit, I love the brown bills, right? So, so Phil, brother, I really appreciate you being on the show. I'd love to have you on again and continue this conversation. And I think we covered a lot of stuff, man.
I love it, man. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me. I look forward to seeing more episodes. All right.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much.
Have a good one. Yeah. The Toxic Male is available on Amazon. Just type in The Toxic Male. You'll see it come up by Phil Russo.
Travel around the world with it.